let us say welcome to a very original artist and cultural manager from Central Southeastern Europe, Sasha Stojanovich Charlie, a Serbian novelist and a prose writer, a very sensitive and talented author, impressive and powerful novels. There were two of them until now. He's working on the third one, and also with a couple of collections of short stories, which are equally impressive. What I want to say is he's inspired very much by the history of the Balkans, and in the same time with his own creation, with his own works, he is influencing sorry, he is influencing this history because in the Balkans there is this tradition, this almost, I can say, kind of law that art and history are very much connected and they influence themselves mutually. More than this, Sasha Stojanovich Charlie is the initiator and the coordinator of one of the most interesting literary festivals in the Balkans, called the Book Festival in Leskovec. Leskovec being a small town, 3 kilometers south of Belgrade, and a festival which started 16 years ago and which is made each year by a bunch of friends, helped by always by some young and enthusiastic students or aspirants to the status of an author. And what's very interesting concerning this festival is that it focuses very much not only on literature, as all the literary festivals, and of course, as a genre, it is a literary festival, but it focuses very much on book as an object, a book as an artistical object, and book as the way of the man of the humankind to express its sometimes pagan need for the story, for the fiction, for the storytelling, for creating an artificial reality which actually is the classical appanage from the beginning of history until now of the artist, of the one living in a Wahrheit to create a Dichtung. This is the book for the writer, for the one which works letters with words, phrases. Welcome here, Sasha Stojanovich.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much, Rick. I'm very glad to be with you this time. Thank you for opportunity to express some my opinions about this. First thing, I'm glad that I will participate in your program. Also, I agree with you that it must be the poet of the world, not only the poet of the East, because you are covering all the world with good poets in the first place. And second thing, which is very, very interesting to me, is your clever claim that in a basis of all literature is always a poetry. If you take out the poetry for any kind of good novel, you will take just cover pages, front pages, maybe not even this. So poetry is the basis, and we, I mean, prosaists, using that poetry as a fuel, as a soul, as the essence of our writing. So I think that your theory is very, very close to the truth. For me, it was very, very interesting your question about political engagement of a writer. Let me tell you something. Any kind of literary work must be political engaged. Even if you have a lack of engagement, you have some kind of this by itself. So uh, you must just take care that your literary work don't belong, don't become a political pamphlet, because that's a political work, not literary work, but you must have some political idea. Also, many good authors was on the wrong side of the history. Their political opinion is one thing, but their literary work was excellent. Let me remind you about Gabriele D'Annunzio in Italy, who was the founder of the fascistic party. Let me remind you about Ezra Pound, who was in love with Benito Mussolini and new Roman Empire. Let me tell you about Knut Hamsun, who gave as a present his Nobel Prize to Adolf Hitler. Let me tell about many other people who were Paul Bourget, who was in a Dreyfus affair, was in opposite side of the Emile Zola and Anatole France. They were in a wrong side of history, but also their literary work is excellent. It can survive the judge of Supreme Hanan Court, which name is Time. Time is a supreme judge. Their work is excellent, but also they have in the wrong side. So there is a many combination of answer to your question. But I also think that you are right that writers, poets, prosaists must be moral vertical of one society. We have to talk about this. We have to write about this. We have to give the new questions. The goal of literature is not to give final answers. We cannot give the final answers, but we must pose new questions, which will born the new and new questions. Maybe one day we will see the answer.
Well, a very interesting answer. I have to actually a bunch of answers within one only answering process. I have to admit, and in the same time, even if not mentioning even a word about it, you answered also to another question concerning the your book festival in Leskovec, because focusing on book and not on literature, at least theoretically, is actually just fulfilling that political role of the artist, that political role of the writer, in your case also of the cultural manager, which has to express some questions about the era he or she is living within, about the regions or the countries and the historical processes which are taking place in his very very close in his closest uh, neighborhood. And because you mentioned about it, can I suppose, and please tell me if I'm wrong, okay? I take upon myself the risk of being wrong. Can I suppose that you initiating your festival was a way of assuming this political or role of the artist, of the writer, which has to tell something about the to has to judge, or as you mentioned it so beautifully, to raise more questions about the era and uh, the region he's living within. In short, making this festival, initiating this festival, was your way of materializing your questions you wanted to raise about the history, about your history, about your region, about your country, and everything dramatic that happened around you during all those last, let's say, at least 30 years.
Let me go a little bit at the past. During the 90s of the last century, we have a very bloody history here in Balkan. I mean, we have the wars in Croatia, in Bosnia, we have the war in Kosovo, and we have many ugly things which were happened. Also, it was impossible to hear the individual voice. What we trying to do with my festival? The first, we made a magazine for culture, think tank. After a few years, we organized a festival, Think Tank Town, with purpose just to put individual voice in a pedestal. It was the it was we were full of bullshit, which were saying in a polyphonia of the political voices. We want to hear individual voices, and you are absolutely right. How with those individual voices put the questions in the first place. This is the new questions from all people of the region for the first, from Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, North Macedonia, Montenegro. We will have to ask the questions. And what we see, we are seeing that our problem of the individual thinking people are very similar. In one side are the people who made great money and get very rich because of the war. In the other side are ordinary people which doesn't have nothing with war except themselves. We are trying to put the opinion of ordinary, talented, intelligent people on the first place. That's the reason of the making our festival. There is historian, there is philosopher, there is a writer, there is a poet. Also, but everybody, all of them are trying to put individual attitude to make the new level of the discussion, the new quality of conversation which will be very interesting, sometime with a lot of adrenaline, but the conversation which will try to make those new questions what I'm talking about.
And I can fulfill this also with the information that, and it was um especially that I let it until now, and I haven't mentioned it until now, that you are a member of the Czech Pen Club, just like me actually. So we are colleagues in the Pen Club Czech Republic. So you are fighter for the pen club values, but you apply them in a foreign pen club, in a pen club which is different by the one in your country. And this is also very interesting. And I think it is something that it is very similar and or if not similar, at least complementary with your fight of putting on the first place the ideas of the intelligent individual, of letting the voice of the individual be heard in within an era and within an environment where only what you call the polyphony of the political voices was to be heard until not so long time. And by the way, I think that Czech's very coordinated and organized way of applying and of putting into value the principles of the Pen Club fits very much with your kind of intellectual fighter for the rights of the intellectuals, for the rights of the people, the individuals which have very good ideas and which deserve being left to talk, being left to uh, to express themselves. I would like if he agrees, I would like to kindly ask Rick to address a question to our guest if he agrees with this.
Stasha, I'm wondering, I think we've seen the evidence of the importance of journalists when so often they're threatened by powerful forces. We've seen in Mexico how many journalists have paid with their lives. We see the same thing. The critics of Russia are facing the ultimate penalties. Obviously, a journalist has to tell as much of the truth as they can. How have you seen Eastern European writers deal with these tough issues, with parables, with satire? What's the best technique when you're dealing with telling unwanted truths?
I don't have to go in a Mexico or Russian. I have the very similar situation in Serbia. 2 years ago, they attack on a house of the journalist. They burn the part of his house. They try to kill him. After 2 years, there is no trial, or the trial is not finished. The guilty people are released. They are free, and the man is now without a house. So you're talking about other countries, but in the Balkan is very similar situation. We are not living in a real democracy. In the Balkan, especially in Serbia, I'm living in a hybrid democracy, something between the formal democracy and dictatorship. There is just a pro form some institution of the democratic state, but in many of things is a judgment of only one man. So any free journalist, any current journalist must be punished for all of these efforts to find the truth. We know the truth is very relative, but it must be the institution, it must be mechanism how to help those journalists to show us what is the truth. We have many kind of censorship. You have in the 19th century you had religion censorship. In the 20th century you have political censorship. Now we have corporate censorship. In the last time we have the censorship of the networks, social networks, social nets. We have also that kind of censorship. Any kind of strong organization will try to make a journalist to shut up. But in the other side, there is our will, there is our courage to fight against this. The truth is only what? Just to remind you on one Latin proverb, fiat justitia pereat mundi. Let be a justice, even the world is destroyed. But we must fight for this. We will always fight for this. I'm with Mircea, the member of Czech PEN. I'm from Serbia, member of Czech PEN. He's from Romania, member of Czech PEN. We have one very free, very good organized, very good organization. It's a pleasure to be with our brothers and sisters in those Czech PENs. I'm also the member of Committee for Writers for Peace, Balkan Group. We always try to fight for freedom, how to protect the journalists. The media is one very important cornerstone of the freedom. We must protect them in all way what we have. I am afraid that any kind of organization, doesn't matter, this is dictator state, this is some corporate organization, will try to make a journalist shut up. But we are together, we must be together, and we must be fight for even last journalist somewhere in a corner of the earth, because the fight for him is a fight for all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for question.
That's right. Yes, a very interesting question by Rick, and a very complex answer by Sasha. I would like to fulfill, to try to fulfill this with another question. If you agree, gentlemen, maybe this would be the last question, and then we may kindly ask Sasha to read also something from his works. Um, uh, I will. Well, first of all, this question starts from my own experience, because there aren't so many people to know that actually I am not anymore a member of the pen club of my own country. I'm not anymore a member of the Romanian pen club, just because I found some things I couldn't agree with within this organization, which was supposed, just like Sasha mentioned, to protect the rights of writers, of journalists, and especially of the ones which were uh, submitted to terror, to censorship, to torture, and so on. Instead of it, I also found an excellent environment in the uh, in the world of the Balkan pen clubs, and it is only apparently paradoxal that whilst in the Balkan we have, and Sasha is very right, very much right from this point of view, we only have an apparent democracy, or a one-sided democracy. In exchange, the pen club activities work very well because they have a common enemy, this false democracy. And because of this, they are very united, and therefore, people in the Balkan pen clubs are really very honest people, and people from which one has what to learn, and one can cooperate with them. So I wanted to ask Sasha, don't you think it is a little bit, I know it is rhetorical, my question. Don't you think it is a little bit strange that actually people like you and me found their place from moral point of view in a foreign Czech pen club, whilst our own pen clubs uh, determined us, or uh, maybe even forced us to take this decision?
Very interesting question, indeed. So, I must admit that when I become a part of the Czech pen club, I didn't have so great wish to be also in a Serbian part, because I think that to be a member of one pen club is also to be a member of the all pen clubs, to be the part of this brotherhood and fraternity and sorority, which we have a very same aim to the freedom of the speech. I think that's for in your case that's really and interesting and also strange, of course. But I'm sure that in you and me, with our energy, with our dedication to the freedom, will find a way to the real freedom of our expression. Mircea Dan Duta is a person who is doing for the Balkan in a last, as I remember, in a Prague Book Fair, who doing many sessions which are determinated that organization and that our goals to the freedom. So we will leave after us some monuments, some trace, which will show that finally we were right. We are going to fight. We are going to change something. We are looking for new things. But I am sure that in a Czech pen, we will be very successful, and we will go to our final aims.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sasha Stojanovich, Charlie, writer, cultural manager, and fighter a writer which is also a fighter, which reflects also his work. And I think it couldn't be a better, we couldn't have a better moment to change to your work, dear Sasha, than now. So please read us something from your novels or short stories or something you have translated into English from any of them, because all of them are very interesting, and I can confess publicly that one of my hopes, one of my dreams, I hope to come true, is to ensure the translation of your novel War into Romanian. Unfortunately, I can't do it myself because I don't speak Serbian, but as I was telling in another interview we made together for uh, for uh, um, the Romanian cultural magazine Literomania, we will find a good translator from Serbian into Romanian in order to translate it into directly, because I'm not the partisan of translating something through a third language. So, Sasha Stojanovich, Charlie, writer and fighter, please read us something from your fighting novels or short stories.
Thank you very much. I hope that for our next meeting, we can read the part of my novel War in Romanian and in English also. It will be my pleasure. I will read again Tour de France. This is the chapter which I send you. So I hope that it's possible to translate it in English also with some kind of title, if it's possible. Tour de France. Čučali smo u rovu 3 vrela i smrdljiva dana. Noću smo kopali. U stvari, bilo je to obična rupetina koju smo izdubili kundacima i džonovima čizama. Čim smo kačili da nas odavde neće pustiti da izađemo tek tako. Prvo mali puca, nas dvojica grebemo po zemlji i kamenu. Poste debeli dok ja i Šorti rijemo ko krtice. Naposletku ja, dok kratki svinjogojstvo šire jamu i rukama izbacuju zemlju napolje. I tako u krug. Kad dođe red na mene, isključim se i zamišljam kako jašam bajk na nekom usponu. Iza mene samo reportažna kola. Onda ubrzam, motam sve dok čizma ne počne da glanca go kamen. Posle noktima bajonetom izvučemo kamenčino iz blata, pa nanovo, dok kopaš, živ si. Izdržali bismo mi još da nam nije ponestalo vode. To malo kišnice što se skupilo kod nas bilo je za 2 gutlje. Svako. Ne znam ko je predložio probijanje, sad više nije nevažno. Debelog je odmah strefilo u grlo, malo je krkljao pa je prestao, obema rukama se držao za vrat i tresao nogom ko zaklana kokoška. Mali ih teo da pritrči, ali sam ga ja sprečio, gotov je, gledaj da nas dvojicu izvučemo bulju odavde, ali gotov je kad kažem. Pucaj da ne počnemo i nas dvojicu da mrdamo karabatacima. Pucaj bre! Ono jes. Toliko krvi video sam zadnji put kad smo klali svinju za 29. Znaš, zimske čarolije, sprža, vešalica, beli i dimljene, čvarci kavurma. Jebeš prvi za ove breš, šta da mu stavim? Da ga pritisnem na grlo, ugušit će se. Sreće pa je brzo prestao da se kuprca, inače bi nas kembali onako đutore. Jebali bi nam kevu, ali pojedinačno. Razbaškarali bi nas po onoj šumi, baš ka ruke, baš ka noge, a za glavu, ko te pita. Mali, kad ti dam znak reći, unesuh su lice klincu belom kao kreč. Jedan trči, a drugi puca, naizmenično, sve do crkve. I nema stajanje, rekao mu pre nego što sam stavio novi okvir. Sad, zviždalo je oko nas, ali ništa. Već sam pomislio da ćemo da izvučemo dupe iz onog haosa kad vidim klinca kako pada. Diži se, mali, vičem, još malo i spaseni smo. On pokušava da ustane, ne uspeva, pa se vuče na laktovima prema meni. Vidim grč na licu i prste koji se hvataju za busanje trave. Pokrivam ga, ne skidam prsa obarača. Tad ostajem bez municije. Dok menjam okvir vidim jedno kako mu prilazi pucu u leđe. Mali se trza kao da ga udarila struja. Tresu mi se i ruke i okvir neću apovku. Uđi već jednom, šištim kroz zube. Uđi ko Boga te molim. Kasno. Vidim gomilu njih kako mu prilaze i udaraju ga kundacima u glavu. Mali jauče i krklja. Jače. pucaju mu u glavu, šutiraju, gaze ga onako mrtvog, sve jače, a umesto malog se po travi razlila velika crvena mrlja. Thank you very much.
So now I will translate I will read the English translation of this, and I am happy that Serbian language also resound with this within this program, because I think it brings something from the spirit of the novel. The title is Tour de France, which is actually a game of words with Tour de France, about that bike competition. We were digging within the trenches 3 days. During the night, we were lying down. Actually, it was just a usual. It was just a usual cope, which we managed to create with our guns. And when we, in the moment we found some stone, we had to eliminate it in order to make place to another dig. And we knew very well that it would not be very easy to go farther from this place. The first which was shot was the little one, and the other two tried, continued to dig uh, towards earth and stones. Then the fat one was also killed, whilst me and the little one we are trying to go near next to the earth like moles. Until the end, I was also shot, but the little one and the pig managed to make those trenches larger and larger, and haste the earth out. That's how it went every day. When it is my tour, I imagine myself as being on a bike, and as going upside on a hill, um, and that I have some media car after me. So uh, I'm going quicker and quicker. I'm digging with all my force until I feel that my shoe feels some stone. Then I eliminate that stone with the bayonet and with my fingers, and I continue to dig in the earth. As long as you dig, you remain alive. We could maybe uh, we could resist another couple of days if we had what to drink, but we had no water. There was very little rainwater around us, and it wasn't enough for 3 people, but only for 2 of them, not for each of us. I don't know who came with this idea of going out. Anyway, it is not important anymore. The fat one was gotten got uh, the fat one was shot immediately in his neck. He only showed a little bit, and then ended with all. With both of the hands, he he was keeping his neck, and his foot was spasmodically trembling like uh, like uh, uh, um, like a beheaded hen. Um, the little one wanted to run towards the fat one, but I told him not to go. Hey, listen, this one is already dead. At least if we can resist, if we can save our asses. But I tell you, this one is dead. We can't save him anymore. And just shoot so that we could the intent so that we create the illusion that we have something to fight with, and so that we wouldn't be shot on our feet. So for God's sake, shoot. Well, I have to say that I didn't see so many blood during the last days like like now. It is if I tried to rein his neck, then he would suffocate. Um, and actually, from it was a good thing that immediately he stopped uh, he stopped making those noises. Otherwise, they would have seen both of us, and they would have killed us. They would have followed us throughout the forest, especially with hands, especially with feet. Where is the head? Nobody's interested in it. Listen, little one, when I tell you, then you just start running. I told who was pale like a wall. One of us has to run, the other one has to shout, and by reverse until we reach that church. We are not allowed to stop. I told him before changing my charger. Now, let's go. Around us, there were a lot of bullets. They were shooting, but no problem. When I thought it was finally possible to escape from that chaos, then I saw that the boy fell down. Come on, boy, rise up, I shouted him. Another couple of meters and we are saved. He tried to rise up. Did not manage. So he came on his coats towards me. I saw I saw the uh, I saw the expression of his face, and his fingers, his fingers trying to reach something solid. I tried to cover him. I have also my I have always my I have always my finger on the trigger. No more munition, no more ammunition. I'm trying to change the charger, but I see someone yak uh, how he's getting closer to the boy and shoots him in his back. The little boy is trembling like he would being uh, being put in a electrical current. My hands are trembling, and I'm not able to change my charger to the my gun machine. Come on, just put yourself in your place. I'm saying through my uh, teeth. For God's sake, please. It is already too late. I see them a lot. They are all getting close to the boy, and start beating him with their guns in his head. The boy is shouting and chiding louder and louder. They shot him into his head. They beat him and they play on him even if he's dead now, more and more. Instead of the little one on the grass, there is only a big red flag.
Thank you very much for your reading, dear Mircea. I really enjoyed. And this, thank you, Enrique. I would like just to say that my novel War, which chapter Tour de France you just wrote, I would like to say that is already translated on a Czech language. You know that it was awarded, but award Josef Jungmann for best translation by translator Jan Doležal. It was translated to the Italian. Translator Anita Vuzzo doing a perfect job. So it was in a place number 3 by reading in Italy for 2015. And after that is translated on a Polish language by Agnieszka Żuchowska-Arendt. Also we have edition for Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. And in this moment, I am waiting for 5 new translations: Slovenian, North Macedonian, Russian, Spanish, and I hope English will be finished in the next 2 years. So it will be a pleasure. I also expecting that to hear that book is speaking on a Romanian language. But I think that Mircea take care about this much more than me.
I hope I will manage to, because it really deserves. Rick, if you would like to add some observation or some question for Sasha.
You know, in the West, we have enjoyed the illusion for some time that we have a free press. But those of us who are engaged in journalism and in writing often find ourselves bumping up to the parameters, to the walls of a free press. I was operations manager of a TV station producing all of their original content. That gave me, one might think, some power. But when I wanted to cover a story about a bombing at a women's clinic, I realized that there was no way they would let me cover that story. It was too inflammatory. So what I did was I finessed it. I framed it. I said, we're going to do a show about women's medical care. And I invited the people from the clinic and said, so what's new at your women's clinic? And they said, oh, we've been firebombed. So when you're creative, you can sometimes work around. But, you know, we look at so many journalists around the world. My respect for your bravery, sir, to cover important, real issues in the midst of Eastern European turmoil. You're a brave man, sir, and we salute you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me in your program. I hope that we will have opportunity to discuss about main topics of the world another new time and in another new opportunity, of course. Thank you very, very much.
It would be our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you very much, Sasha Stojanovich. Thank you very much, Rick Spisak, for this special edition of Poets of the East. I don't want to sound like being unhumble or not modest, but I think, Rick, what we are doing is also a little bit like activity against the current, because usually nobody cares about poetry and about poets. or about authors all in all, especially when they are also fighters. So we are trying to bring them to light. So actually, well, in our way, we are also, well, a kind of fighters, especially when we have a beer in our hands.
we have old proverb which say that the first step in a war with cockroaches is a turn light on.
That's
So
right.
if you turn light on, I think that we start a very, very clever way.
Thank
That's
you so
right.
much for being with us, sir. Our
Thank you
honor
very
and
much.
pleasure.
Thank you very much, Rick Spisak. Thank you very much, Mircea Dan Duta. I hope see you soon and again. Thank you.
Okay, all the best, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us also during this edition of Poets of the East. All the best from main producer Rick Spisak and from associate producer Mircea Dan Duta. Have a wonderful evening, night, or morning according to the geographical east you are living at. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.